Well, thank you, Patty. It's good to be a cohort with you.
Well, they say colleagues.
Ride shotgun with you, I think, is what we say in Dodge City. And Deborah, thank you for being here. And Maria will be here, and others will be here as well. And Patty pretty much hit the nail on the head. There's a chart over here about Kansas, but awarding the contract to Boeing would create an estimated 7,500 jobs and an annual $388 million in regards to economic impact to Kansas alone. There's no question that Boeing will make the best next generation aerial refueling tanker. The proposal is based on a proven platform founded on the expertise of a well-established pool of skilled workers. As Patty indicated, we can start tomorrow. Congress and the American people eagerly await the Secretary's announcement on this contract. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been too long. This has been a 10-year effort. These are Eisenhower-era airplanes. I can recall going down to the drugstore where I get my prescriptions for the various maladies that I have had, which I will not enumerate for you today. But at any rate, the young lady who handled the prescriptions all of a sudden came to me and she said, "I've seen you on C-SPAN, and I've seen you talking about the tanker. My husband flies a tanker, and I worry every time he leaves, and he worries every time he leaves about the viability of that airplane taking off and flying and actually fulfilling its mission in regards to access to very strategic areas that are vital to the United States. Certainly, as you look at the Mideast, well, you can see what she talks about. Well, my goodness, if you have somebody that's in the community that you know, but that you really don't know, and all of a sudden they find out that you're a senator, and then you also find out that her husband actually flies the airplane, and pointed out that he would have to change various tankers because you would take off on one tanker, whoops, there's a problem, so you have to land, and then you have to put it on the tarmac, and perhaps it's out of use for 3 or 4 months. I don't know what percent there is now on the tarmac in terms of being done all the work that has to be done that it can fly. Now, we've had fusses here in the Congress between authorizers and appropriators. That's done. The sheep and cattle war's over, okay? And so we've been part of the problem, the editorial that's done, we ought to do this. We've had the WTO take a look. The WTO has said, look, there's more subsidies going to that other company as opposed to Boeing. It is in the national interest that we ought to do this. The Air Force ought to pay attention to that, although they have indicated that's not the case. I do not understand it. It's time to award this contract and put people to work. The livelihood of Kansas workers and the lives of our service members across the nation depend on building the best possible, most cost-efficient job-creating tanker. You don't have the tanker, you don't have access, you don't have reach, and our American security is at stake. Now, if the President has indicated this, and I think I'm right, he wants us to tweet and to chirp and probably put on Facebook what you think about the need for job creation in the United States. Well, I have to admit that I'm not up to speed. I am not a tweeter. I'm not a chirper. I may be a chirper, but at any rate, I do have a Facebook page. But then the President should look no further than the procurement of the Boeing tanker. So everybody out there that is tweeting and chirping and Facebooking, will you please take a look at all of these charts and know that Boeing can build the tanker yesterday, and we can have that for our national security and have true job creation in the United States. We need a Defense Department ready to utilize the highly skilled workforce that already exists, and our workers in Kansas and Wichita stand at the ready. They are at parade rest, and they will come to attention just as soon as we get the word. So to the President and the administration, to the Department of Defense, and yes, even to the U.S. Air Force, as the last Marine in the Senate, I say let us be serious about job creation and keep this a fair competition. Let's award Boeing the next generation tanker contract. The confidence level in regards to the Air Force, in regards to the criteria, you have to really start to question that a little bit, or a whole lot. I mean, we've been through 2 now, and they have taken the decision back, and our plea would be exactly what Patty's indicated. let's be consistent with the WTO and with the Defense Department. That just makes sense to me. And so when you say the criteria, a lot of this is rumors, or somebody here said that we understand that. I don't know if you're part of WikiLeaks or what, but at any rate, I don't know what the rumors are, but I do know that when the Air Force came out with the first two contracts, they weren't right. And so consequently, I don't know what their decision would be. We're just urging them to make the right decision. Jerry had the bill in the House of Representatives. What was that vote, Jerry? Can you remember?
Almost 400 to a handful.
Yeah, 400 to a handful. You don't get that in the House of Representatives very often. You don't get it all here in the Senate. But at any rate, he was just simply trying to point out that if the WTO rules that there was unfair competition in regards to subsidies, that you ought to give the contract to an American builder, and one that has an outstanding reputation, one is ready to go to work. So you ask what we'll do. We already have that background. I don't know if we repeat that legislation or whatever. As far as I'm concerned, nothing's off the table. I reserve all rights to address this situation if in fact that would happen, but that's not the intent of this meeting. The intent of this meeting is to remind the administration, if we're really going to talk about jobs, and jobs that can happen immediately with the best product, here's the decision.